right, amen. You may be seated, and welcome to worship today at the First Baptist Lafayette. If you're a guest of ours, in your bulletin or in the pew back in front of you is a Connect card. If you would take a few moments to fill that out, drop that in an offering box on your way out today, we'd appreciate that. We've got a lot of moving parts today. Thank you for being flexible. If you normally sit in the balcony, if sitting on the floor, we've got the Lord's Supper here in a moment. But right now, we're going to talk about a project that we have called Reach Forward. And so if you've been around for a little over a year or more, you know what this is about. But if you're relatively new, you may not. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things today. We started a couple of years ago actually 4 years ago with a long-range planning team and began to ask the question, what does God want for our church? What is the next thing? And we identified He wants us to reach Acadiana for Christ. He wants us to reach people. And so as we looked at our facilities and our property and all the things that we had, we realized that the way it was built out, the way it was organized, the land that we had, the properties we had, that we were going to hit some limiters. And so we put together a plan. You can go ahead and put the slide up there, please. But we put together a plan, and that plan was a 5-phase master plan. The church voted on it 2 years ago in our business meeting overwhelmingly. They also voted on phase 1 and phase 2 specifically of that 5-phase plan. And so we began working on that. Last year, we conducted a giving campaign called Reach Forward, and that was to provide financially for the second phase. The first phase was all paid for. So it's been a year out, and I wanted to give you guys an update. You can see here what we've been trying to do. Our goals were to create a welcoming environment for people. Not that the building looked bad, but it needed some updating. It had been 20 years old since somebody chose the carpet and the walls and the things, and so we wanted to update that and refresh that. There were a couple of areas that were pinch points, one being our preschool area and our children's department. We had kind of hit some barriers there just because of space size and allocation. And then we just wanted to strengthen our ability to reach people. And so that included parking lots and some other things. And so as we're working through that, we had that phase 1, which was already paid for. Hey, it's not bad spending money that you already have. That's pretty nice. So we already had it. And some of the projects that we did, you've already seen the children's expansion and updated theming. The climbing wall has been a hit for young parents and for young kiddos and for older kiddos as well. But the theming is great. When you walk down the hallways, you know this is a children in a preschool area. This is where we take our children, and this church wants families to be here. That's what it communicates. So we were able to do that. The worship center audio upgrade. Don't we sound great? Doesn't the sound system sound great? I don't know if you noticed or not, but it sounds great. Now, we were limited by budget. We were not able to get the package that makes me not sound like a high-pitched redneck. We tried to do that and couldn't do it, all right? So we're just stuck with that. But we literally were on duct tape and bubble gum at one point with our sound system. It was 20 years old. The tech was 20 years old. Most of you do not have technology in your house that old, but we had it in God's house that old. So we updated that. And then also the corridors, the info centers, you've seen a refreshing of that if you've been around a little bit as we did some remodeling. There's one more bit of that project, phase 1, that we're not quite finished yet. It's a missions center. It's an area in our church where we could highlight our missions ministry and remind people of what God is doing. To get your bearings on these pictures, they are in the foyer area that we call the columns area. So the columns from the old church that burnt down 25 years ago, which is if you go out these doors, you turn to your right, that is the area that we're talking about. And so we'll have some soft seating. The idea is a place to gather, to drink coffee, to hang out, another community space. And then you see on that back wall kind of the continents shadowed there. That's actually a piece of metal, and you can attach magnets to that, and the magnets will be how we highlight all of our mission partners all over the globe. And so you'll see this being worked on in the coming months. We're still working on that. It's not quite started, but be praying that direction. Reach Forward specifically is the giving campaign. We've kind of given that name to all of it now. But that was for Phase 2. And there were two main projects in Phase 2. The first project, the Lord allowed us to purchase a property adjacent to ours. It's a 16,000 plus square foot business office building. And so we were able to purchase that. And we were going to gut it and then use it for our schools, middle school and high school, and then also for our student ministry. And so you can see some renderings there. It includes office space. It includes a large group space that we would use for worship and other large gatherings. There is some living room space throughout just to build community. You see some doors there in the back with some windows. Those are classrooms for Sunday school classrooms. And then upstairs will be our middle school and high school for the school. Those rooms are up there, plus Sunday school space for students. And so that's what the renderings look like. We've got some updated pictures that are relatively recent. I would love to tell you where this is in the building, but I'm not 100% sure. So just agree that that's what that is. And so we've got some updates on what's happening in that. I do know that's a bathroom. That's an important place. We know that that's a good spot. And then again, you see some walls going up, some of the original brick staying. So here's some milestones for that. We're expecting construction to be completed on December the 6th. That next day, we'll start bringing furniture in and setting things up for use. We have a prayer walk scheduled for Sunday night. January the 4th, we'll meet as a church and have a time of prayer here, and then we will walk over to the building and pray walk the building. And look, this is for ministry purposes. We want God doing a great thing, using this building as a tool to impact people forever. And so that's a spiritual thing, and we're going to bathe it in prayer. So you want to be here on January 4th to go through the building and to pray over each room. And then the school will be full use on Monday, January 5th, which is their first day back from Christmas break. Now, in construction, every date is a moving target. There are a lot of things that have to go right in order for these dates to work. We are on track for these dates, but we need you to continue to pray for the project that everything will go smoothly. The second portion of Phase 2 is to remodel and update the worship center. We use this for a more traditional legacy service, which means when you're there, you're looking at things that scream a little bit, they communicate a little more traditional feel, like red carpet and big, huge columns and things of that nature. Y'all have never noticed the red carpet before, but now you see it, do you not? And now that you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. But we also use it for a more modern space, which typically is less grandiose. It's a little more intimate of a setting. And so we're trying to design something that literally is a transformer and will be able to transform, and both spaces would make sense. So here's the most recent renderings. These are not final renderings, but the most recent renderings. This is the worship center set up in the modern service. You have some LED screens that are hanging from the ceiling. This is intended to give a sense of intimacy. It's to bring the back wall forward visually, but also in the middle where it says, "Come and worship the holy God." If you sit here in the middle, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where we're trying to sing and you need to know what the words are, and you're craning your neck to the side to see the words. This will put words right over our worship team, right in the middle, and you'll be able to look straight ahead while you're singing with those. Now, they're on motorized trusses. They can disappear. And so in the legacy, it could look like that, where they just disappear up into the ceiling. You do see a new surface on the stage. You see some wood there that modernizes that and updates that look. There are a few other items on there as well. There's some tech things connected that you can't see in the pictures. But here's another picture from over there somewhere looking at the stage. And then if you're up in the balcony, it'll look similar to this as well. So with those projects, all of them are going to cost money. They're not free. And so we did this 3-year campaign. We started about this time last year, 1 year ago, and the goal was $12 million to do both those projects and to whittle down some debt and a parking lot. And so of the $12 million goal, here are the commitments made. People made commitments for the next 3 years. And the commitments made totaled $10,149,582. Y'all don't seem as excited about that as I am. $10 million is a lot of money, okay? That is a lot of money that our church people, that you guys committed collectively to give over 3 years. Now, if it's a 3-year gift and we're at the end of year 1, we should expect 1/3 of that $10,149,000 to come in. So math people go, how much should we expect through 1 year? 33% of that would be what? Like $3.3 million, all right? $3.3 million is what we should expect. Here are actual receipts through the first year. Cool, amen. We like commitments, but we like cash better than that, amen? And so $4.9 million has come in. The way this works, we were going to do the projects at the beginning based on the commitments the church made and trusting God to provide that. And so the way that works is the construction companies were going to start, and they're going to start billing us. And what I've learned about construction companies is they like to get paid. That's surprising, isn't it? And so they will give us bills, and we knew that all of the bills related to these projects would be front-loaded in the first year, year and a half, while they were actually doing the projects. And our hope was that our giving would be enough to where we could pay cash for all of those invoices that came in. And if we weren't able to do that, the church gave us the authority to take out a line of credit, not a loan, but a line of credit, so that if an invoice came in that was more than we had brought in, then we would be able to pay it and just take a short-term loan from that line of credit. So here is the actual expenses related to all projects up to today is $4.4 million. That's great because it's below the income. That's what you always want to see, all right? Amen. So what that means is we have an account in the bank somewhere, I don't know, that has roughly $500,000 in it that is earmarked for those expenses. I asked our finance department, what's our expected invoices for the next 90 days? This is the number. $2.5 million in the next 90 days. So if nothing else comes in, we will tap into that line of credit by about $2 million in order to pay those expenses, okay? Now, we are trusting God through this entire process. We did not put together this master plan because this was the preacher's idea. We put it together because we sensed that it was the Lord's leadership. And we believe that when someone accepts the leadership of the Lord by faith, that by faith they are trusting the Lord to provide for that plan. And so we are trusting that God will provide. My heart's desire is that God will provide fast enough to where we don't have to dip into that line of credit. And if He doesn't, okay, but if He does, to God be the glory, amen? By the way, regardless of what He does, to God be the glory on this deal. Because this is all a step of faith, all a step of faith. And so here are the two asks, the two items of encouragement I want to encourage you with, okay? Number one, if you made a 3-year commitment last year, I want to encourage you to take a look and make sure that you are on pace with your giving and encourage you to catch up with that. Second part of that is if you've made a commitment over 3 years and you are able to go ahead and pay that whole thing right now, that would be glorious, all right? That'd be great if you're able to do that. Just consider it, pray about it. If you can do it, great. We sent home a giving record, your giving report in the last couple of weeks. You may have said, well, why did we get that? It's so that we could let you know where you are on that. We want to help you with that in case you wanted to do something different. In the bulletin today, there's a little part that says to make a commitment to reach forward. And somebody asked me, well, we made one last year. Are you asking us to make one again? And I said, look, if you want to make 2 commitments to reach forward, or, we're not going to turn that down. But that's not for those who made commitments last year. It's for new people. We got a lot of new people that that have shown up to our church and joined our church since last year. So the ask for you is to pray about making a 2-year commitment to reach forward. That commitment is, the Lord's leading me to give X amount over the next 2 years, and then you would give to reach forward over the next 2 years. Those folks received a packet in the mail this last week with information about Reach Forward. You have a card that you can fill out and turn into an offering box. You can tear off that piece of your bulletin and put it in the offering box. You can go online and register your commitment online in a number of ways, but that's the ask that I would encourage of you. Now, this is a spiritual thing. It requires faith to do. We have been exercising faith. We are walking by faith. Sometimes that is very nerve-wracking for the pastor, walking by faith, knowing there's $2.5 million in invoices coming in the next 90 days. But we're walking by faith, and so faith requires prayer. So I'm going to ask you to pray for our Reach Forward project, pray for the building, the construction that's happening, pray for the design of the worship center, pray for the mission center, and pray for the contributions and the giving as well. Do this. I'm going to ask you to get into groups of 4 or 5 around you, and then have one person voice a prayer over the entire group, and then I will close and transition into the Lord's Supper. So get in your groups, on your mark, get set, go, pray over that, and then I'll close us out.